If you've worked in tech for more than 15 minutes, you know that the news moves faster than, well, it moves faster than a lot of things, and we're going to get to that at the end of this episode. But the Catchpoint News Catch-Up is here to help you catch up with the headlines that matter, as well as provide both context and perspective. Because, like your network here at Catchpoint, we are also highly opinionated. Joining me on this journey through the news of the day are Payal Chakraborty, one of our amazing product marketing managers here at Catchpoint. Welcome.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you for the warm welcome.
No problem. We also have Kelly Avina, our illustrious Senior Director of Product Management. Hello, hello.
Hello. Glad to be on the show.
I'm glad to have you. Thank you for agreeing. I know I had to have some convincing to get you on here. And
I love
finally,
it,
we have our Sergey Katsav, our not at all intimidating VP of Engineering. Dun dun dun. No
Hey,
pressure.
everybody. I'll try to be a little bit intimidating.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Before we go into the news, does anyone have anything like going on in your life that you want to share with the class?
There are 20 school days left of school here in New York, and we are deep in summer planning mode. So that's getting us going, getting us moving.
It. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. 20 days.
Of course, we're about 2 months late, but that's okay.
What's 2 months?
2 months late on summer planning.
Yeah, on summer planning. Yep.
Oh, that. Yeah. Well, there's always that. Okay. Anything else going on? I do want to point out that. Go ahead. Yes, Kelly.
I was just gonna say I am going to take the opportunity to plug my amazing children. My son just graduated from Firefighter Academy. He already had his EMT. Now he's an EMT/firefighter. And my daughter is graduating from University of Oregon in 3 weeks.
Yay!
Nice.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Very cool.
One out. Good for you. All right, so here as we're recording this, it is almost exactly a week to go until the holiday of Shavuot, which I like to remind people is the holiday you're commanded to eat cheesecake and ice cream. I do not make the rules. That is simply how this works. So next week, if for those who choose to participate, religious or not, cheesecake is the order of the day. So, all right.
Hopefully not tolerant.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I want to jump in. Sorry, Payal, anything that you want to share? You don't have to.
Well, I would love to say that, I would wait for the cheesecake on my feed to pop up, and I thinking that, I'm having one of those.
Don't worry about your feed. He's actually going to be sending them to all of us, I believe. I think
that is not a thing.
That's very generous.
Cheesecakes do not mail well. They do not travel through the U.S. the postal system of any country at any time very well at all. Okay, so let's jump into the news. We're just going to run down what we've got. First up, and hang on a second. There we go. There we go. The hidden productivity drain no one's talking about, your network. Dun, dun, dun. So I picked this up, as you can see, from SC Media. Just to summarize quickly, a report from Checkpoint apparently showed that the traditional internet infrastructure is quietly sabotaging day-to-day performance. A big part of this, according to the news piece, is the, quote, patchwork of regional ISPs and long-haul handoffs. So that was the news article. And I got to say, I'm not going to argue with the fact that the network has a lot to do with whether you think the applications you use are amazing or suck. But I guess my question for the article is okay, so what? What are you going to do about, okay, your network, I don't mean your home network, but the outside past the demarcation point is slowing things down. What are you going to do about it? Now, the article does pivot to promoting a certain provider that has created a super robust, redundant network, and that's fine. That is a honorable endeavor. However, even if you take the time to build this optimized failover, best circuit, SD-WAN automation thing, it's still running on the same wires everyone else has. No one's building a whole new internet. It's using that, quote, patchwork of regional ISPs and long-haul handoffs. And also, they're not fixing anything for the last mile. the just getting to people's houses, offices, whatever. If you're in an office, you are still liable to suffer from a backhoe moment. That's where the gardener digs down deep and pulls up your entire internet connection. I've seen that happen 3 times in my career. So I think the real answer is, and this is not a commercial for the company where we all work, is ensuring you have the visibility to know when something goes down or when something is slow, and at what point in that connection to the things you're using, where that breakdown is happening, so that you can either reroute or find a way around it, or at least know who to call. So that's my take on the article. Anybody have anything else they want to opine about?
I think you pretty much stole my thunder, but I will say that when I first started working in this industry, I thought that the backhoe thing was just something people said, and then it kept happening. It's a real thing. Actual construction, backhoes tear up fiber all the time, and giant networks go down because of it. But as far as the article itself, my big takeaway is understanding is half or probably more than half the battle. Whether or not you can actually solve the thing, fix whatever the problem is, you need to know that there is a problem first, right? And
Yeah.
and the other half of it, you mentioned the offices, but the last mile is more important now than ever post COVID, right? We've heard this before. We've all gone from having to worry about one office with 1,000 employees to having to worry about 1,000 offices because people are working from home. And so understanding what everyone's situation is and what kind of technology they can use and cannot use, and maybe even making those purchasing decisions of a certain website works on a given ISP and a different website does not work on that ISP. It's really important to have that information.
Yep. Anyone else want to jump in there?
Yeah, my initial thought on this was similar to what you said, where like it's not solving that, like it's still traversing the last mile public network, the first mile public network. It might be going through a private network somewhere in the middle. But
Right.
one, it's not solving the public network problem, and two, okay, let's say everybody jumps on board the private network problem, then aren't you just bogged down again?
Right. It's a never ending, like somebody else will then build the next best, biggest, and yeah, exactly.
I mean, technology is always a race, right, to one up each other, and that's okay. That's what keeps civilization moving.
Right. But as long
I will.
as go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. You go ahead, because yours is in response to Sergey. Mine's not.
I will talk forever. So no, I want to hear what you say.
No, I was just going to say to that article in particular, I really had to laugh at the line that the statement they have. I think it's in the last paragraph that says, "When your network performs, people perform." I was like, I could just see everybody referencing this in their one-on-ones. Why didn't you have this done by, X due date? Oh, it's my network.
The dog ate my homework.
Well, it's always the network, right?
No, it's always DNS. It's
Okay.
always DNS. It's never the network. Next up, Sergey, you've got something else for us. What do you got?
Yes, sir. So I was looking through LinkedIn as I want to do, and this blog post, it's more of a blog post than an article, came across my feed, which I loved. So, the title, as you can see, Building a Resilient DNS Client for Web Scale Infrastructure. And there are a few different reasons that I loved it. Number one, if a giant company like LinkedIn, which, if people aren't aware, is part of Microsoft, thinks that something is a problem, in this case, DNS isn't quite performing as fast as they would like for their giant infrastructure, then it's a real problem. Number two, just the way that this article lays things out and how they built a caching DNS resolver that they run on the client side of all of their infrastructure in order to speed up DNS queries. So the way that they went about the project, the way that they tested it, the way that they continuously monitor it, and for me, the way that they productized it and handed it over did a production readiness cycle and then handed it over to their operations team was very, very well written. I think it's a great example of building large systems while thinking about things like dependencies, where most people don't think of DNS as being this dependency that can break, and guess what? It often does.
Exactly. Okay, so is this the part where I can make the, it's always I already did make the, it's always DNS. So I'll just say it again. It's always DNS.
Unless it's the network, but yes.
Yeah, it's never the network. It's never the network. Okay, so I guess the thing that struck me here is that they're not fixing DNS for the world. They're fixing DNS for themselves. They're drinking their own champagne. And I like the fact that they're trying it out internally to see if it works and all that stuff. I think that's great. I would hope that once they prove it out, they share it with not only the world, but the open source world, that they share it with, everybody in a way where people don't have to line up with a Brinks truck full of cash to get. A line jumped out at me. Traditional server-side DNS monitoring struggles with high noise-to-signal ratio. DCL's client-side metrics change this, enabling aggregate-based alerts that leverage a fleet-wide patterns rather than isolated noisy signals. What? What, you mean that measuring something from multiple locations yields you with greater insight than just monitoring from a single point of location? I am shocked, I tell you, shocked to hear that. Okay, that might have been slightly editorial.
A little over the top, a little bit.
And a commercial, because it's sort of what we do at Catchpoint, right? Is monitoring from many 3,000 points all around the world. So yeah, you're gonna know whether the problem is global or localized, regional, or just a few users or whatever it is. But you're only going to know that if you monitor from multiple places, and that seems to be what they're doing as well.
Exactly. And I do like the way that they talk about the monitoring that they've implemented for this system, which is that they have what's essentially APM, application performance monitoring, on the inside of their infrastructure, monitoring how long a query takes, monitoring the code level, instrumentation, and making sure everything's working properly. But then they also have this from the outside in, getting the user point of view, the user experience. So yes, you absolutely need both of those.
Nice.
Okay, so I have questions from a DNS for Dummies level view. So this DCL that they've built, in what I was reading, it's installed on every host. Is it more or less like a DNS fails, it's a round robin, go to a backup DNS?
So
Or
it's
what exactly is it
good
doing?
question. So what they're trying to do is with a normal system, right? So I'm on a laptop right now. When I type in anything into my browser is making a DNS request to my ISP here at my house, and then the ISP responds. And most laptops, like I'm on a Mac, they have some caching built in. What LinkedIn said is, you know what, the caching that is part of the operating system isn't good enough. And then there are other open source resolvers, like Unbound is a big popular one. And they said, you know what, for the scale that we have, I'm assuming thousands and thousands and thousands of systems, that's not enough. And we need them to talk to each other, all of these client side resolvers, which systems like Unbound don't do. And so that's what they've implemented. They basically made a better caching resolver for the client side that's able to actually talk to other resolvers on other clients and make decisions based on that, which is very nice.
So I have another question there. So is it safe to say that um, LinkedIn's resilient DNS client, it's gonna load our pages consistently and even during the DNS issues? So is it like, let's say there is a page that I'm looking for and there's a downtime. So let's assume there's no downtime for that reason. So how does that smart failover come in and that fast recovery design mechanism kick in? Is that
Yeah.
something that you're targeting at?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the details, of course, aren't in there, but one of the things that they talk about is, well, with any DNS, resilient DNS, there are multiple servers that can return the lookup result. And so getting that lookup answer quicker and then having it available and cached while it's still valid is very, very important. That's what these caching local resolvers do. So, absolutely, that's part of it, right? If you have micro outages in your DNS infrastructure, having that answer already cached means maybe I don't even need to go and reach out to the server that is currently down.
And I want to jump in here and just point out to the folks listening that all of the articles we're talking about are going to be linked in the show notes or description, depending on where you're consuming, wherever fine podcast and webinar web content is served for you. So we'll have links to everything so you can read these articles also and come up with your own questions. I just wanted to remind
And
everybody
we'll be
about that.
happy to answer them.
And yeah, you can reach out to us. We'll also have links to our contact information, whether again it's LinkedIn with their super duper DNS or, social media or whatever. You can ask us questions too, or just troll us. I'm okay with that also. Okay, next up, I think we've got Kelly. You've got an article for us?
I do. So my article is from TechCrunch. Google's AI agents will bring you the web now. So paraphrasing, of course, the article essentially is that your time as a Google user is extremely important, and they are implementing an AI agent that will scour the web while you can go off and do something else. You can be on another, go search somewhere else, go work on, Facebook or whatever you want to do. While it compiles the results of whatever question you've asked of your search results. Not just, giving you, here's things that match based on, SEO, not, specific links, but actually saying like, here's everything that kind of has to do together with what you asked and a summary of that. My take on this, and I know not everybody's fond of AI, Leon, but I, coming from like my daughter's in college, and AI is not allowed to be used, right? You're not allowed to go tell ChatGPT to write your essay about, XYZ. But if Google's just introducing that as part of their normal search platform, we're going to have to make concessions to having AI available and part of our everyday world. And that's my personal take on it. Like, AI's here. It's we have to adjust to it.
Okay, I'll reserve. I will not jump in first. Who wants to go next?
I figured you should jump in first since you were so eloquently called out.
Fine. Okay. Thanks. I hate it. Just to be really clear, I actually changed my search settings so that when I do a search in Google, it omits the AI stuff that is in there. I just I don't. It's not that AI is bad. It's just right now we're at that point in the hype cycle where every damn thing has to have AI involved in it. I don't need my coffee cup AI enhanced. I don't need I just don't need it everywhere. I don't need my refrigerator to have AI in it, that kind of thing. With all of that said, this article might in fact overcome one of the issues that I've had with ChatGPT and all the rest of them. That is the proper pronunciation, by the way, ChatGPT. Which is the data set. Most of the AI tools now still have been trained on a model, still use a model that was trained a couple of years ago or months ago, because the training of an AI model is what takes all of the time and the heavy compute resources. That's what's hard, is the training. Once it's trained, you can run that thing on a laptop. That's what Hugging Face is all about. So if if Google is doing something to allow your questions to really look at current information, that might reduce some of the issues with hallucination, that might reduce, some of the problems with inaccuracy, that kind of thing. Or it could make it worse. Who knows? I mean, it could be just the AI apocalypse all over again. And like I said, I just want AI to get its nose out of my business is really what I want. Okay, there. I said it, right? I am the AI curmudgeon. That's actually, I'm going to buy the website, arcurmudgeon.com, and you're going to have just a picture of me. That's
Not
what
if
it's
I
going to
buy
be.
it first.
Here we go. We're going to, like, all of us are like, "Ah!" Go. Okay,
Back up
I'll stop
to
now.
AI in my refrigerator, and is it going to tell me if my milk is bad without me having to smell it? Because I would so take that.
Oh yes, it does that. It does that. One of my
Yeah,
friends has
there's
an
already
AI
refrigerators that
refrigerator.
do that.
Okay, I
Yes.
didn't realize that was hard. I'm
Yeah.
going to go
So it
start
kind of tells you.
researching how much that costs.
Yeah. So it kind of tells
Yeah,
you, like, what vegetables that they're on, like, on the but I mean on the verge of going off, so you can use them up a little better. So that's that. But yes,
yep.
I am kind of excited. Sorry, Leon, about it, about the new AI agents. Sorry, but I'm really excited. You know
What?
why? Uh, let's say it's the Christmas time, and just before the Christmas time, you want to book your tickets, you want to fly off to some vacation just to get a break from all the stress that you've had throughout the year. So what do? You scout through every website, you're trying to find the best deals, the cheapest flights, the ones that matches your schedule, and all of that. It's a lot of work. So what if the AI agents does the same things for me? Finds my schedules, finds things that are on my schedule with the best prices and the best routes and everything that I want, and books my tickets. Saves me a lot of time, but at the same time, it's gonna help me, how do I say it, lighten my mood for the vacation. I'm excited now, I'm super excited. That's how I like to put it. What say, Leon? Wanna give it a try?
No, I don't. That's called a search. That's called a regular search with automation. I hear what you're saying, but so many times I hear people say AI when what they mean is three if statements in a trench coat. Like it's. I understand, and I am a fan of sophisticated search capabilities. I'm a fan of adding more automation. I'm a fan of workflows. I just don't think that everything is actually artificial intelligence, which isn't. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
So for the longest time, whenever I would say the word AI, I would put in air quotes. Uh, in the last month, I've stopped doing it because now I'm seeing like really, really valuable things coming out. Right. So unlike Leon, I actually am using. I've stopped using like regular Google search, and now I use my favorite AI chat for almost everything I want to do. Right? I just ask it the question, and generally speaking, it gives me the correct answer. And then, Kelly, to your point, one you mentioned not allowed to use it in schools. Well, the same conversation is happening in technology companies, right? When, in particular, about interviews, when we interview for an engineering role, is the person allowed to use ChatGPT or pick your favorite technology or not, right? And some people are saying, well, no, 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 they need to actually know how to do this stuff. The other half are saying, well, they're going to use it as part of their job, so why don't you have them prove that they actually can use it as part of their job, right? And I tend to be on that second half of it.
It's the lead code. It's the opposite of lead code. Where, and I'm not a programmer. I don't pretend to be a programmer. But when I hear people say, oh yeah, we did a whiteboarding operation where we had to do a bubble sort on a whiteboard, I say, is that a thing that your company does a lot? Like, you write code on a whiteboard and algorithms that are part of a library? Like, is that a thing that the company does? Because I have questions. If that's really what you have to do, it doesn't really prove anything except you memorize the lead code workbook.
Yep.
And this is the flip side of that, which is, if you say that no one is ever allowed to use any AI enhanced tool, then fine, you do the interview raw. But if not, then maybe use it during the interview and the questions pivot to explain that answer to me, or what's wrong with that answer, or what have you. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
I think that the use of AI is only as good as the knowledge that you yourself have, right? I mean, I have to be, if I'm going to use AI for something, I have to be able to catch if it's hallucinating and if it's, providing me with the wrong answer, which, in okay, so my daughter's not allowed to use AI when she's writing her essays and whatnot. But when she calls me and asks me for help on some, math thing that she's working on, it's been, 15 years since I've touched that kind of math. So I can use AI to look it up, but I also have to know if that answer that it's giving me is right and if the steps, the workflow that it provided is the right workflow. So
Right.
I can't just, blindly believe everything that AI provides.
Right. Okay, I do want to just interrupt and point out that I did just buy AIcurmudgeon.com. So just let the record reflect that I got it. Okay, so it's now a thing. I have a buying domain problem sometimes. Like I have an idea. Oh, you know, pantlessweasel.com. I almost got that one. I didn't get that one. Okay, last article. Payal, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Let me just talk about it. So, this article is the one that I've got from the cybersecurity news, and I'd rather call it, securing the security operations stack, tenable versus vulnerabilities that Nessus is giving us that are under the spotlight. So, what I like about this article is that it highlights multiple vulnerabilities that are discovered in Tenable's Nessus network monitor, which allows remote attackers to execute maybe an arbitrary code, bypass the authentication mechanism, or cause the most important denial of service conditions. So these vulnerabilities or flaws can be spanned from input validation weaknesses to memory corruption bugs, and they've also been assigned the common vulnerability exposures, the CVs, and rated with varying severities. Now, Tenable has released patches addressing all of the identified vulnerabilities. What I think is most important here is to acknowledge the fact that Nessus is widely used in enterprise security for continuous network monitoring. And vulnerabilities in such tools, I would say, is like a double risk because not only are they security critical in terms of the CVs, but they can also be targeted by the threat actors to compromise their environments that rely on them for protection. So I would say Nessus is doing a fair job in assigning the CVs and giving them a score so that we know there's a mechanism of how to get a remediation flow out of it. That's my take on it.
I'm going to jump in here and just say I remember going to hackathons when the word hackathon actually meant hackathon, like when it was a security thing, not this thing that all the cool kids do today, which is just like we're building things,
Hey,
like
Kelly,
whatever.
he called us cool.
I
I know.
he did let the record reflect, right? So when hackathons actually were hacking and you played capture the flag and stuff, there were classes on how to use Nessus, and along with air snort and Wi-Fi crack and things like that. Um, I remember that. So yeah, this is not great, but in addition to what you said, that they detected it, they patched it, it's okay now. It also highlights for me, and I'll be honest, as somebody who worked at SolarWinds in 2021 when the things were happening, um, that monitoring tools are an especially challenging uh, risk element in your environment, that you need to be very, very clear about what your monitoring is doing, what permissions it has, how it is executing the checks that it's executing, because in many cases, your monitoring tool has elevated privileges that other people or tools don't have and don't need to have. So you have to walk in with eyes open. I will say that at Catchpoint, we take it incredibly seriously. Everyone does. Nobody says, yeah, we don't care about your security. We'll just wing it. Nobody says that. That having been said, we really are very careful about the way we implement things so that security is, first and foremost. But it's a good, this article is a great reminder that, you know, if you don't check, you don't know.
Yeah, and this one is one of the more serious vulnerabilities over the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure that there are 20 others that we could have picked that would have sounded very similar, right? So, uh, yes, security, especially nowadays, is a big, 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 big challenge. We talked about everyone's trying to one up each other. Well, with security, unfortunately, it's a race to the bottom, right? Like the hackers and the security companies are literally trying to fight to get a little bit of a benefit. And on the flip side of it, dependencies, 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 right? All of these tools, all of this software that might have vulnerabilities, guess what? That is a dependency in your delivery chain. If your monitoring tool goes down because of some security issue, well, obviously, if it lets hackers into your network, then that's a very, very big problem. But even if it doesn't, if it's just down, guess what? You don't know what's going on with your network. You don't know what's going on with your applications. Same thing for any other third party dependencies.
Yep. Anyone want to add anything else? Okay. All right.
Security good.
Security good. Be careful. Yes, exactly. We here at Catchpoint News Catchup try to be as eloquent as possible. Eloquent like Tarzan. All right. So normally we'll just have one article each. However, this is our first episode, so we get an extra bonus item. But the best and the best for last, the most obvious news item is that this show exists. And now that you've heard it, I'm curious about two things. First of all, how does everyone here think that this episode went? But more importantly, at the top of the show, I said, if you've worked in tech for more than 15 minutes, you know that the news moves faster than, well, it moves faster than a lot of things. And so my question is, faster than what? What is the news faster than? So I'll start. I've got two of them. First, it might be faster than ping response from 127.0.0.1. Or similarly, it's faster than loading an HTML file from your local machine.
That's the
Those
same
were the
thing.
two I came up with.
That's the same.
Exactly. It is. It's cheating. It is absolutely cheating. So, all right, fine, Sergey. What's better?
All right. So the two that I came up with. Number one, the speed at which new AI tools come out right now.
Oh, okay.
Just for the AI curmudgeon himself.
Yep.
And number two, the speed with which cheesecake disappears from Leon's kitchen.
And the speed,
All right.
and the speed at which he said he wouldn't be delivering any of us cheesecakes. That was very disheartening, John.
All right. Fair. All right. Any other takers?
Yeah. So mine would be the speed of the fastest website with LCP loading.
Ooh.
Very fancy. Okay. All right.
Largest contentful paint for the win.
Okay, I think that we might have a winner there. All right, so I had fun, and that's not me saying that so that you can say no, I had a horrible time or whatever. But what's your take on this? Should we keep on doing it? Is this working for you? Like, how are you feeling about this new show?
I like diving into articles that I might not otherwise read or I might not otherwise voice an opinion on, and I have opinions. I have so many opinions.
Cool. Kelly, what were you saying?
Similar. So right before this, I was on a call with Sergey and I was like, I don't know if this news thing is going to last. And this was before we even did the first one. But I will say, now having done it, I've had fun. I have lots of opinions, not normally on tech news, but I like having opinions on tech news. So this was fun.
Kelly is currently registering newscurmudgeon.com.
Newsskeptic.com. I still have my window open. I can still buy that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Payal, you feeling good about this?
Yes, I think this is something very good, a very good initiative that we've all started, and looking forward to much more episodes coming in the line.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you all for taking time out of your very busy days for joining me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'd like to take just another minute to thank my co-hosts as well as Catchpoint for giving us space to do fun things like this show. I also want to thank the news cycle itself for providing a never-ending source of education, intrigue, amusement, and horror. But most of all, I'd like to thank everyone watching or listening. Here at Catchpoint, we recognize there's an almost infinite amount of content that you can consume, and we really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to listen to us. Thank you again. For Catchpoint News Catchup, I'm Leon Adato.